The new Broadway production Slave Play has been described by its creator as centering on, quote, the wound inside of America that has gone unhealed for too long. Or, in the words of one New York Times theater critic, the single most daring thing I've seen in a theater in a long time. Joining us now, the play's creator and the youngest black male playwright ever to have a play he's written on Broadway, Jeremy O. Harris. Jeremy, it's great to have you with us this morning.
Nice to be here. It's wild.
Your play, your creation has sort of set Broadway on fire. Everybody's talking about it. Just lay out the conceit of the play for people who don't know the backstory, and what is Slave Play about?
Okay, so this is going to be tricky because I don't tell people what it's about.
Okay, that's fair.
People get a little riled up, but I think it's better, right? I think that there are a lot of spaces in culture now that people go into completely unfamiliar and can have the world of the play surprise them.
Sure.
And I feel like, I don't know, it's a metaphor for how I walk through the world. You know what I mean? I never know what America I'm going to get when I walk outside of my door. And so I wanted to keep that same sort of like, what America are you going to get feeling when you walk inside of the theater of Slave Play.
So without revealing too much of the story or the moral of the story, it's fair to say it's set in modern times. People might think it's historic, but it has glimpses of the past put it in today's world.
Yes. I mean, I think it's more so about how we've never, in some ways because we've never like apologized for the wound of chattel slavery, we haven't like rectified it in any major way. It's never left us. We've stayed stuck in that historical moment and not moved past it in a significant way yet.
Right, and I think that's part of the reason why Slave Play is getting the kind of reaction that it's getting. You don't live a structured life, but in reality, and part of what you're saying, the play, no black does because we don't fit into a certain structure.
Yes.
So all of us are hoping for the best because there is a difference in how we're treated in the structure, which is really what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and I think that like the wound that we carry from that, you know, is a wound that we share with everyone else in this country, like in a significant way, because I think that it's something that we all have to hold as history, and I think that denying this history like makes it impossible for us to look at the future in any significant way.
Does the play, or do you personally, you just mentioned the wound that black people carry. The wound is also accompanied by an inner fear that white people don't feel. Do you deal with that?
What do you mean by the inner fear that white people don't feel?
You know, you get pulled over, for speeding.
Yeah.
If I get pulled over for speeding, it's, can I bag the ticket with the cop?
Completely.
Can I tell him I know someone? If you get pulled over and you don't want to be in the bag.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what the play is actually excavating in a lot of ways, because I feel like that sort of like innate fear, that sort of like scene of subjugation, to like quote Saidiya Hartman, who just won the MacArthur Genius Grant and had her foundational text for like a big part of my understanding that helped me write this play. But I think something that I think it's the most eye-opening for people is, and it's like it's given audiences of color a way to articulate their own relationship to whiteness, and I think it's given white people a way to like to awaken to a fear that they probably have, that like this latent virus of whiteness, this thing wherein there's been a history of violence committed by white people that a lot of good seeming white people don't know what to do with. You don't know what to do with the fact that like your great grandfather like may have or may not have voted for a person who like may have or may not have. You know what I mean? It's like all these things become these what if, and like the play says like, it's not a may or may not have. It's like they did. There's no getting around it, and you have to live with the fact of that in your epigenetic like landscape. In the same way that I have to live with the fact of like that fear that we were just discussing in my epigenetic landscape. So it's like the play wants people to recognize that like not only do I have a history of being oppressed, and that has forced me to look at the world in a certain way, having a history as an oppressor forces you to look at the world in a certain way, and like having a sort of a realistic and honest confrontation with that is better for us than us saying like, well, that was them, this is me. Mm-hmm. Like saying like, no, this is where we've been and how can we move forward is the way that the play attempts to situate its characters, and hopefully by doing that situate its audience in a sort of space that's like hard and difficult but necessitates conversation and necessitates a moving forward with grace, honesty, and dignity.
You say it's hard and difficult, and it is, and it's a sign that you've made something provocative and that you've pushed boundaries, that you've put something on stage that makes people uncomfortable, that there are people who protest it online. They appear to be people who saw maybe a still photograph or one video from the show, but what's your reaction to the people people who don't like what they're seeing?
There's no right way to confront these questions about our history. This history is fraught. This history is hard. This history hurts. And I think that if the way I'm looking at it hurts you, all I can say is, like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to heal myself, and I hope that you and people that look at the world the way you do help create some framework of understanding or excavating this fraud history that actually does heal you.
Here's the crazy thing. Jeremy just turned 30 years old.
That's right.
There's a big
29,
future
can you
here.
believe it?
Big future.
Well, Mike and I are coming together to see.
You are, yeah, because I was-
Put us in the OG section.
Do you want to have the same seats Rihanna sat? Because we marked those off, so I can give you Rihanna.
All right, I'll tell him who Rihanna is.
See Slave Play on Broadway at the Golden Theater. Jeremy O'Harris, such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the work and the success that people are all talking about your show.
Thank you.
That does it for us this morning.